Okay, so this is for section 2.2, and it's called linear relations and functions. Okay, linear relations and functions. Thanks for checking. Yep. Okay. Okay, any equation in the form ax, using uppercase A, plus bx, ax plus by equals c, ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are elements of the real numbers. Use a double bar R for real numbers. A, B, and C. That's the Greek letter epsilon means is an element of the set of real numbers. I guess I should put that in the set. Put that in the set. And this is the Greek letter epsilon means is an element of the set of real numbers. Well, if you think in the history of math that went way back, you know, yeah, they didn't have our alphabet back then. So, okay, with A and B not both 0, okay, any equation in that form, okay, ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are real numbers, with a and b not both 0, is a linear equation okay, it's called a linear equation, and the variables cannot be multiplied together or appear in the denominator. And you work with linear equations, equations of lines in Algebra 1. So basically you can't have an x times a y. You can't have a variable down in the denominator. It won't graph a line. Okay? And the exponents have to be 1. And I'm going to go through some examples of those that are linear equations and those that are not. Okay? So let's look at, on this side, put linear equations. And these are not linear. You can just use EQ for equations. So if it's in this form, so 2x plus 3y equals 8. Okay, that satisfies the 2, the 3, and the 8. All come from the set of real numbers. A and B are not both 0. Okay, the variables are not multiplied together, and there's nothing in the denominator. So that fits a linear equation. Okay, this is an example of one that is not linear, and down the road we will get into graphing those. What throws that one off? Yeah, the x squared. The exponents have to be 1. So if you get anything that's not an x to the first and a y to the first, it's not going to graph along. Okay? Just say not linear. Yeah, it's not a line. Yep. And just to prove it to you. Okay? Down the road you'll end up. Okay? So if we were graphing that minus, it's definitely not a line. Okay? So you have to pay attention. Your clues are going to come in your exponents, and we will actually get into those. We'll get into those again. Okay, another one. X equals 9. Okay, the A and the B are not both 0. X equals number. X equals a number. What kind of line is that? Vertical line. X equals a number is always going to graph a vertical line. Y equals a number is always going to graph. So it's going to vertical line. X equals a number. It's going to look something like that. Okay. So, but it is a line. X equals the square root of y minus 3. Yeah, that square root, it's not y to the first, okay? So that's not linear. If I have one like y equals a negative 5x plus 3, yep, that's actually in slope-intercept form. We're going to talk about that. That will graph a line. If you have x times y plus 2 equals 8, okay? Yeah, you can't be multiplied together. Do you know what that one's going to graph from your algebra 1? X times y equals a number is always going to graph a hyperbola. Did you graph hyperbolas? No. Not yet? Okay. That's coming up then. Okay. Y equals 1/2 x. Yep. The slope-intercept, if you did slope-intercept form, the y-intercept would actually be 0. Okay, so that one's going to graph a line. Okay. What throws this one off? Yeah, can't be in the denominator. Okay. So those are examples, and they will ask you, is this a linear equation or not a linear equation? Okay. The next part, and you had this in Algebra 1, so this is going to be a little bit of review. Standard form of a line. In standard form of a line, if you can get it in the standard form of a line, you know it's going to graph be a linear equation. Standard form of a line is ax, use the uppercase A, plus ax plus by equals c, where a plus b and c are elements of the set of integers. Spell it correctly. Okay, A, B, and C are elements of the set of integers. Integers, remember, if you want to write it out, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, dot, 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 negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, in this direction, dot, dot, dot. Do you see any fractions in there? No, like 1/2 is not an integer. So that's telling you A, B, and C cannot be fractions like 3/4, negative 1/2. A, B, and C have to be integers. Okay? Also, A, B, and C have a greatest common factor equal to 1. A has to be greater than or equal to 0, so your A is positive. And basically they're giving you directions to get this in the right form so that we all agree on one answer. Okay? And the last thing, A and B are both not equal to 0. Okay? You could have like the x equals a number, y equals a number. Those are two special cases. X equals a number is a vertical line. Y equals a number is a horizontal line. Okay? Okay, so an example. If I have 3x plus 15y equals 30. That's not in standard form because there's a common factor of 3. So you can divide by 3 on both sides or factor out of 3. It's okay to divide by 3. If you divide that 3, this is a polynomial over a monomial. That 3 divides into both of them. Okay, so you'd have x plus 5y equals 10. That you have to make sure the a value in front of the x is positive, which it is. The a, b, and c are integers, and you can't have any common factors bigger than 1. Okay, so if you have this as an answer, that is going to graph the same line, but I would count this one wrong. Why? Yeah, because this is a negative value. Okay, this is going to graph the same line, but it's going to be counted wrong too because it has a factor bigger than 1. Okay, so basically it's so that we all agree that's the right answer. That's what they're getting in standard form. Okay, so let's try a couple of examples. They will give you directions to write each equation in standard form. And you see that phrase in standard form, you know you're trying to get ax plus by equals c. Okay? And they want you to identify the a, the b, and the c. So first example, say they give you y equals 3x minus 9. First, there are no fractions. Okay, so that's okay. We're in all integers. The a is 3. A is the 3, and it's already positive, so I would leave it on that side. Bring the 9 over to the left side, so you can add 9. Okay, so you'd have 9 plus y equals 3x. And if you can see to do this in one step, I'm okay with that. Subtract the y. So you have 9 equals 3x minus y. Okay, so this is your ax. They will probably write it with the plus sign because it's ax plus by, so this would be your 3x. Instead of minus, they're going to put plus a negative y. Okay. Okay, and the a would be 3, the b would be negative 1, and the c would be 9. Okay, so this is the standard form, ax plus by. So I think they probably will write it with the plus sign. And they want the a, the b, and the c. Try another one. So you have negative 2/3 x equals 2y minus 1. First you have to get rid of that 3. And I would get rid of the negative sign all in one. Multiply by negative 3 on both sides. Okay. Either use parentheses or, so I'm going to multiply by negative 3. When you multiply this out, a negative times a negative, positive. So we'd have 2x, multiply this out, you'd have a negative 6y plus 3. Okay, the a is already positive, so leave the x on that side. Bring the 6y over, and if you can tell to do it by sight, add 6y. So I get 2x plus 6y equals 3. You agree with that? Okay, and distributive property? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, because you're multiplying that whole right side by negative 3. So, and I usually draw the arrows to help me remember. I got to take it times both of them. And then you still have to identify the a would be 2, the b would be 6, and the c would be 3. Okay, enough examples on that part? Okay, that's standard form of a line. You can't leave any factors in common. Let's go back for a minute. Can't leave any factors in common. The a's got to be positive, greater than or equal to 0. Okay? And no fractions. You can't have any fractions in standard form. Okay? Okay, the next thing the author talks about in this section is the intercepts. They will give you problems like this. Find x and y intercepts. Notice how that's spelled. It's not intersect, it's intercept. The x and y intercepts of negative 2x plus y minus 4 equals 0. And then graph it. X and y intercepts are two critical points for any line. And I'm not graphing this one, just as an example. For any line where it crosses the x and y axis. First, let's look at this one. Okay, for that point, what's the x value? 0. And then you solve for y. For this one, x, and then the y value is 0. So basically, when it says find the x and y intercepts, sub 0 in for x, solve for y, sub 0 in for y, solve for x. So if you take the, and I ended up putting the 4 on the other side. Take the 4 over to the other side. And now sub, we make a table of ordered pairs. If you put 0 in for x, 0 in for x, and this drops out, right? So y equals 4. 0, 4. Okay, and then put 0 in for y. And x would equal, yep, so if you put 0 in for y, x is negative 2. So by our, if I graph this 0, 4, this would be like a 0, 4. 0, 4, and this would be negative 2, 0. Okay? So x and y intercepts, a lot of times people get confused on what they're asking for. Don't make that hard. You notice that was probably a little bit easier getting it in standard form. If you get it in the ax plus by equals c, okay, get it in that form first. Okay? Okay, and the last thing this author talks about, okay, is a linear function. We did linear equations. Okay, and remember last week we talked about functions. For it to be a function, remember it's got to pass the vertical line test. So it's in this form. If it's linear, okay, it's in this form. F of x equals mx plus b, because that's like f of x is the same as y equals mx plus b, and that's like the slope-intercept form of a line. But that's telling you slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. What's the only type of line that is not a function? What's the only type of line that's not a function? A vertical line. So that's the exception. Okay? If it's a vertical line that's not a function, every other line is a function. Okay? Okay. Any questions on that? If they write it in this form, and if they said like find f of 5, then everywhere you see an x, you'd substitute in a 5. Okay? Okay. There should be an assignment on the iTunes U